There are many simplistic models in the book that fell short of what I ultimately aimed for. However, I've included these simpler models as heuristic steps towards understanding the more refined models, and also as more relatable alternatives to the refined models. Figure 7 is one of those simpler models. Like Figure 4, I was going to skip Figure 7 because I didn't think it would be enhanced by animation. But since it defines art, I decided to show how Figure 6 is used to measure Figure 7. It starts with 3 basic elements: the element of rules, the element of communication, and the element of entertainment. Those who oversimplify art often assume that there are no rules to art, but there are. It's only a perceived lack of rules. Those who understand that art is meaningless if not communicated might perceive communication as the most essential part of art. I might not disagree. The entertainment part of art is most often recognized, and yet most often treated as expendable. Those who consider art to only be entertainment might also consider all forms of art to be expendable. Using the intersection frame of mind from Figure 1b, when you combine all 3 of the elements, there are some interesting compounds in the overlap. That's the simpler definition of art that might be useful at an elementary school level. These are the obvious elements of art. But how well do they meet the expectations set in Figure 6? They aren't quite ideal in terms of formality because they are barely distinguished from science. Science definitely has rules, it often requires communication, and some might even say that science is entertaining. The definition of art in Figure 7 belongs just above the reality line in Figure 6. We'll leave this guitar pick shaped symbol here for now. I'm also showing how the earlier Figure 2a definition of art is measurable by the Figure 6 chart. The subjectivity element only serves to distinguish art from STEM, which includes science. But it doesn't distinguish the other disciplines from each other. I use more refined elements to distinguish 6 core disciplines concisely later in the book, which is why I consider it the ideal definition. I put the definition based on subjectivity closer to the reality line, but a lot more towards the all-inclusive end of the spectrum. This is because there are lots of examples of subjectivity that most people wouldn't call examples of art. That's Figure 7, the obvious elements of art that might be useful to some, but don't quite meet the level of formality of my more refined model. Hopefully this either whets your appetite for learning more about that refined model, or at least satisfies your appetite with this slightly more concise definition of art than the numerous definitions in common use today. I welcome your feedback in the comments. Thanks for watching.